The lesson of a lifetime. Nicole Harrington had spent years mastering the art of selling luxury cars. She had built her career on precision, efficiency, and an unwavering ability to separate serious buyers from time wasters. But all it took was one mistake to remind her that she had been looking at the world the wrong way. She thought she was protecting the dealership's reputation. She thought she was keeping out the people who didn't belong, but what she was really doing was limiting herself, and it nearly cost her everything. The humbling change. For days after that first encounter with Sylvester Stallone, Nicole saw everything differently. She had spent years perfecting her craft, knowing the cars inside and out, mastering the numbers, the sales tactics, the psychology of high-end clients. But she had been too rigid. She had let her assumptions dictate her actions. Now, she was determined never to make that mistake again. So, she made deliberate changes. When an older man in a faded polo shirt walked in, she didn't assume he was just looking. She treated him like any other customer. By the end of their conversation, he had placed an order for a brand new McLaren. When a young black man in a hoodie strolled through the showroom, instead of making a snap judgment, she approached him with genuine interest. Turns out, he was a record producer looking to buy his third Ferrari. When a quiet woman in jeans and a sweatshirt asked about an Aston Martin, Nicole didn't dismiss her. She listened. That woman? She was the wife of a tech CEO looking to buy her husband a gift. Every day, Nicole saw a reflection of her past mistake, and every day she corrected it. But one question still lingered in the back of her mind. Would Stallone ever come back, or was his first visit just a test he already knew she had failed? The unexpected second chance. 2 weeks later, he walked through the doors again. Nicole felt her entire body go rigid. This was it. Had she done enough? Had she proven herself? Or was this the day she was finally let go? She watched as Stallone took his time strolling through the showroom, glancing at the cars with the same calm, unbothered energy. Then, without warning, he turned to her. "You've been working on it." Nicole straightened. "Yes, sir." Stallone nodded as if assessing her. Then, for the first time since they had met, he smiled. "Good." He gestured toward a Bugatti Chiron sitting in the corner. "Now, let's talk about my car." Nicole exhaled, her chest tightening with relief. She wasn't fired. She had earned her place, and this time she wasn't about to mess it up. The ultimate test. Nicole handled every detail of Stallone's purchase personally. She didn't treat him like a celebrity. She didn't treat him like a billionaire. She treated him like a customer, a valued one. When the paperwork was finalized, Stallone leaned back in his chair, arms crossed, watching her with that same quiet intensity. "You did good." The relief washed over her, but she didn't just feel relieved. She felt different, more aware, more in control. Stallone stood up, adjusting his jacket. Then he asked a question that made her stomach twist. "What did you learn?" Nicole didn't hesitate. "That I was running this place like a gatekeeper instead of a leader." Stallone's expression didn't change, but something shifted in his eyes. He pressed further. "And?" Nicole took a breath. "That success isn't just about knowing the product. It's about knowing people." A pause. Then, a small nod of approval. "Now you're getting it." And just like that, he turned toward the door. Nicole watched as he walked through the showroom, employees giving him respectful nods. This time, he wasn't just the owner in disguise, and she wasn't just the manager who had made a terrible mistake. She had been tested. She had learned. And that was worth more than any sale. The hardest lesson to learn. Nicole had always thought she knew who belonged in her showroom. She had spent years sharpening her ability to spot the real buyers. But the truth was, she had been wrong. She had let her own biases blind her, and she had almost lost everything because of it. Because every person has a story you don't know, and sometimes the ones who seem the least important are the ones who matter the most. So, before you judge someone, ask yourself this: what if you're wrong? What if the person you dismissed today is the person who could change your life tomorrow? Because one day, you might find out the hard way. What would you have done? If you've ever experienced or witnessed a moment like this, drop a comment below. And if this story made you think, hit that like button, because in the end, it's not about who you think belongs. It's about who actually does. A lesson that would never be forgotten. Nicole Harrington stood at the edge of the showroom, watching as Sylvester Stallone disappeared through the front doors. She had spent her entire career thinking she had everything figured out, but today, she realized she had barely scratched the surface. It wasn't just about selling cars. It wasn't just about knowing the right clientele. It was about something much bigger: respect, understanding, judgment. The things she had always believed she was good at were the very things she had gotten wrong. And that realization, it was humbling. A reputation to rebuild. For weeks after Stallone's visit, Nicole kept her head down and focused. She didn't want to just do her job, she wanted to do it better. She started watching people differently, not just their clothes or their shoes, but their presence. She took time to listen before deciding who was serious and who wasn't. She stopped assuming that money had a look. The staff noticed. They watched as their boss, the once unyielding gatekeeper, began to change. Slowly but surely, respect replaced fear. And with each new sale, each new interaction, Nicole felt something shift inside her. She wasn't just protecting the dealership's reputation anymore. She was rebuilding her own. The ultimate full-circle moment. Months passed and the memory of that day never left her. But the dealership was thriving. The changes she had made weren't just working. They were transforming the business. Then one afternoon, something happened that brought everything full circle. A man walked into the showroom. Alone. He wasn't dressed in a suit. He wasn't wearing a designer watch. He didn't look like someone who had millions to spend. But this time, Nicole didn't judge. She approached him the same way she would any other customer. "Welcome in. How can I help you today?" The man looked up, surprised, almost as if he was expecting to be dismissed. And that's when he pulled out his phone and showed her something. A bank statement, an 8-figure account balance. Nicole felt her chest tighten, because this time, she hadn't made the mistake. She had gotten it right. And that man, he left that day with 3 luxury cars, a sale worth over $2,500,000, a sale she would have thrown away just months ago. The moment Nicole finally understood that night as she locked up the dealership, Nicole sat in her office, staring at the closed contract. She thought back to that first moment, the moment she had told Stallone to leave, the moment she had assumed she knew exactly who belonged in her dealership and who didn't. And she realized something that made her smile. The old version of herself would have made the same mistake all over again. But not anymore, because today, she knew better. And that was worth more than any sale. Would you have made the same mistake? Let's be honest, we all judge people sometimes. We assume, we decide. But what if one wrong assumption cost you something big? A deal, an opportunity, a relationship? Because the truth is, you never really know who you're talking to. So before you judge someone based on appearance, before you dismiss someone because they don't fit the mold, ask yourself, what if I'm wrong? Because if Nicole learned anything, it's that sometimes the people we least expect are the ones who matter the most. Share your story below. Has something like this ever happened to you? Have you ever been judged unfairly? Or maybe, have you ever misjudged someone yourself? Drop a comment below. Let's talk about it. And if this story made you think, hit that like button. Because in the end, it's not about who we think belongs, it's about who actually does. A lesson that stays forever. Nicole had spent years believing she was protecting the dealership, maintaining its prestige by keeping out those who didn't belong. But now she knew the truth. She had almost lost everything because of one wrong assumption. And in that moment, standing in her office, she realized something she would never forget. Success isn't just about knowing the product. It's about knowing people. It's about understanding that wealth doesn't have a uniform, that respect should never be conditional, that the most important people often don't look important at all. A change that lasts. The old Nicole would have spent her career chasing the perfect customer. The new Nicole? She focused on earning the trust of every customer who walked through the door. And that made all the difference. Not just for the dealership, for her. Because this wasn't just about selling cars anymore, it was about learning to see people for who they really were before it was too late. Would you have made the same mistake? We all judge people. We all assume things about others, but what if, just once, you stopped yourself and asked, what if I'm wrong? Because one day you might find out the hard way. Just like Nicole did. What do you think? Have you ever been judged unfairly? Or have you ever made a snap judgment, only to realize later that you were completely wrong? Drop a comment below, and if this story made you think, hit that like button. Because at the end of the day, the way we treat people says more about us than it does about them.